Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is yet another vlog. I have some DVDs and Blu-rays I want to show you guys, as well as my thoughts on a trailer and an upcoming Blu-ray release, and to give you a heads up on what I have planned for the rest of October, as well as beyond. So let's actually start with something that is not a DVD or a Blu-ray. It's actually a Laserdisc. A laser video disc of An American Werewolf in London. I'm a huge fan of this film. It's my favorite werewolf movie, and I don't believe I had this on Laserdisc, and I have not had much luck finding LDs in the wild for years. But went to my local Goodwill, one of my local Goodwills, and it was actually there. There was actually some Laserdiscs. So, picked this up for $5 and thought it was a good deal. So yeah, American Werewolf in London on LD. Here we have some DVDs. We have Rob Zombie's 31, because good friend of mine, longtime subscriber, or yeah, he requested this film, as well as a bunch of other Rob Zombie movies, and I didn't have it, so decided to pick it up. Got Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, because it sounded interesting. I'd heard about the novel. It was a big deal among my classmates in a drama class at Portland Community College a long time ago. The movie apparently doesn't have the same cult following as the book, though. It's honestly been pretty forgotten about. And someday I'll see whether that's for a legitimate reason or not. Here we have 13 Assassins, because it looked like it might be a decent or potentially interesting or cool samurai movie, directed by Takashi Miike. The Last of Sheila, which is a Warner Archive release. I like getting these for like a couple bucks. That's way cheaper than what they normally go for. And this looked like an interesting mystery that has a pretty big cast of big names at the time, and it's actually written by composer Stephen Sondheim and Anthony Perkins, and there is this whole deal where this guy, a movie kingpin, which essentially means he's like a big Hollywood producer. His wife dies mysteriously, and then he brings all his friends on board this yacht to try to figure out which one of them might have killed his wife. And so that's the whole mystery of it. So it looks like an interesting film. Another film that looked pretty interesting is The Indian Runner. This is written and directed by Sean Penn. Features a really unique cast. You have David Morse, Viggo Mortensen, Valeria Golino, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, and Charles Bronson. Looked like a really good drama thriller. After Alice with Kiefer Sutherland. In the US, I think this is known as Trail of a Killer. I think that's what it's called, Trail of a Killer. Got the Alliance Entertainment Canadian DVD of that. And I picked this up because I read the synopsis and it sounded interesting. A film featuring Melissa George, called The Betrayed. She plays a character named Jamie. She wakes up to find herself imprisoned in an abandoned warehouse. The nightmare apparently worsens when she learns from her mysterious masked captor that her husband has stolen $40 million from a crime syndicate. Forced to listen to recordings of her family's private conversations, Jamie must find clues about the location of the stolen money, or her 6-year-old son will be killed. Thought that sounded like a potentially intriguing and gripping thriller, so I thought that was worth a shot, so to speak. And then I also got Edmund for the Stuart Gordon collection. I think this is one of the last films that he did before he passed away, based on a play called Edmund by David Mamet. So yeah, Edmund featuring William H. Macy. And then with the Blu-rays, we got The Beast, Friday the 13th, the Deluxe Edition collection, the box set from Scream Factory. There's such a really great presentation in terms of the case. Looks really cool. There we have another look at like the top of it. And cost me a pretty penny. I mean, this costs like $140 shipped. And I can see why some people don't think it's necessarily 100% worth the upgrade. But for me, as a collector, I just like having these particular kind of franchises in individual cases. I have them on DVD with the lenticular covers from Paramount, which also have some really shitty cover art, to be honest. And I'll probably keep them just for collection's sake. But I didn't. I had the 8-film pack Blu-ray set from Paramount, but I didn't have Freddy vs. Jason or Jason X on Blu-ray. And this is the first official release of Jason Goes to Hell in its unrated form on Blu-ray, so I wanted to get it. Plus, you got remasters of the first 4 films in 4K, a 2K remaster of Jason Goes to Hell, a bonus disc or 2, and yeah, just a really cool presentation in terms of the box set. You got Friday the 13th, the original, the first one, with the 4K scan. You have Friday the 13th Part 2. You have Part 3 in 3D, which has a 4K scan as well. You have the final chapter, which is the last one that has a 4K scan of the original master. Friday the 13th Part 5. I'm a little disappointed by the fact I don't have the reversible cover option of the home video release with the glowing mask. Yes, it isn't the right mask from the film, but I always thought that was a cool looking poster and cover, and I honestly like it more than this, or the reverse one, which is just like some tagline that's blown up way too big. Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, arguably my favorite of the franchise. It's kind of a bummer that you don't have remasters of Jason Lives or A New Beginning or in the other sequels other than Jason Goes to Hell. Maybe that's something to do with Paramount. I don't know, maybe they couldn't find a print or something, but it is what it is. Here we have The New Blood. Always love that cover art. This is my favorite design of Jason as well, is from that film. You have Jason Takes Manhattan, aka Jason Takes Vancouver, Jason Takes a Cruise Ship. That movie sucks. Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. In my opinion, one of the most underrated films from the franchise. Really glad to see this is getting an official release of the 2K remaster and an unrated cut, as well as some extra features. Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason, and the 2009 reboot or remake. And then you have the Friday the 13th collection bonus material 2-disc set. Then you have this booklet. It's got some photos and some interviews and all that jazz. If you break it down, I mean, you have like a lot of movies and you have a lot of material. So 140 maybe isn't that bad of a deal if you break it all down. I mean, for instance, for a while, the tin set was like around that price. And you didn't even get them individually in their own cases. I will say this about the cases. The clear cases are fine, but I liked the uniformity of the black cases from the Halloween set. But, you know, it is what it is. The clear cases are alright. One thing I do have a nitpick about is I'm going to try to get one out of here without, like, pouring all of the discs out. I don't like the fact that they use the cheap, free font on the spine for Freddy vs. Jason, Jason Goes to Hell, and Jason X in the remake. I don't really like that. I think that's a little kind of lame, to be honest. That's just me personally. I think you can reverse the cover art, but some of the cover art on the reversible sides is not as cool as the other ones, so it's kind of one of those you just got to deal with it. I mean, there's worse things to have to deal with for sure. Yes, there are some issues with one of the discs. A few of the discs actually. Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D has the wrong intro. There's a missing bit of gore, a wrist snap, and Jason Goes to Hell, the unrated cut. There is a bit of audio, like a scream, missing from Jason X. But there's a replacement program already, and I already filled out the forms and everything. So, Scream Factory is doing their part to fix it. So, you know, it's not, to me personally, it's not too big of a deal. But I get why a lot of people are frustrated with Scream Factory that they didn't get it right the first time. Especially since this is nothing new for them. The first ever marquee box set that they did was of the Halloween films. And that had some errors. So, and that was all the way, like a few years ago. So it's one of those things, it's like, really? After all this time, you still don't have proper quality control? So I can see why some people are frustrated about that, but I'm really happy with this set. I didn't get any discs that were scratched or broken or damaged in any way like other people did. I didn't bother with the lithographs because I didn't really care, and I don't think they justified the extra price. I also didn't have one of the issues that some people had, unfortunately, where they got doubles of one title or were missing certain titles in the set. I don't even know how that even happens, but it happened with some people. So that's the Friday 13th box set. I know I've had a couple friends ask me if I'm ever going to review it. I will say yes, but not necessarily anytime soon. I'll be late to the party when it comes to sharing my thoughts on this set and the films within it. I reviewed the Friday the 13th films like years ago, but I think I deleted most of those reviews because they were old and I wasn't really too big on them. So I will eventually revisit this franchise, but honestly, I feel after I'm done with October and done with just finishing up Halloween once and for all, I'm going to be burnt out on franchises for a little bit. So I'm going to take a break. Otherwise, I don't think I would really give the box set or the films the best appreciation that they deserve. So, or at least some of them deserve. Now, the rest of these are just Blu-rays. I'm going to start out with stuff from the Bootleg Master. So the first off is a Blu-ray set of the first season of Unsolved Mysteries. One of my all-time favorite shows is Unsolved Mysteries, hosted by Robert Stack. And I actually am close friends with a guy who makes these Blu-rays. And I'm, in a lot of ways, the guy who pushed him to do this particular release. And I helped him out along with another colleague of mine in Chris Rogers. And we worked together along with the guy who's responsible for these really well done bootlegs to put this together. The original first season of Unsolved Mysteries, which includes the 6 specials that aired before it became a weekly series, 3 of which are hosted by Robert Stack. The first 3, though, were hosted by different hosts. The first ever episode of Unsolved Mysteries was actually hosted by Raymond Burr. It was not hosted by Robert Stack. And then Carl Malden hosted the other 2 specials. This also includes segments that were and cases that were not included in the Film Rise episodes that were on Amazon or on YouTube. The picture quality is not HD. It's standard definition. It's 480i. It's full frame, but it's watchable enough. And a lot of work went into this. The guy who's responsible for this, he went into a lot of detail in terms of making sure the aspect ratios matched and inserted and spliced in original intros for episodes, as well as the segments that were missing from the Film Rise episodes. So it's like watching the show the way it originally was aired back in the day on either Lifetime or NBC. So yeah, this is a real treat. This is really cool. Really glad to have it. Very simple disc art, but that works just fine. And I got my name on it. He actually, put my name on it as an executive producer, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, Unsolved Mysteries Season 1. We have another TV show, Celebrity Deathmatch, the complete series. Let's get it on! I really enjoy this show. I'm looking forward to watching this again. I actually haven't seen every fight from this series. For the most part, I've just watched a lot of the earliest episodes. I don't really remember that much from the revival. So this will be a lot of fun revisiting this. So Celebrity Deathmatch. He sent this one as a freebie. South Park, Imagination Land, and Uncensored and Uncut. I remember watching this two-parter. I think it was a two-parter or three-part. I don't know. It was. I think it's a two-parter. I remember watching this when it originally aired, and the dig against Stargate aside, it's a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to revisiting that someday, just for fun. The rest of these are ones that I ordered from him. So we have Condor Man. We have Private Parts, because he had one available that he did before the recent announcement of the official release, and I didn't have the film at all on DVD or Blu-ray. Actually, I had it on DVD, but I wanted the Blu-ray. Dennis the Menace. I remember really honestly being a fan of this as a kid, but I haven't seen it forever, so was happy to pick that one up. So another film that I enjoy, Nothing But Trouble. This is actually a really good transfer. It's an upgrade over the DVD for sure. Has the music video, same song by the Digital Underground. Theatrical trailer, not much in terms of features. I would love to see Scream Factory do the collector's edition of this. I really would. I think it'd be worth it. So, Nothing But Trouble. And then we have Three Ninjas, uncut and uncensored. This has 3 different cuts of the film. You have the uncut international version of Three Ninjas that I've never heard of, remastered in 2K, U.S. theatrical edits, an open matte edit, alternate opening sequence from Germany, the trailer. I'm honestly still a pretty big fan of this one. I grew up with Three Ninjas, and I've been wanting a Blu-ray for a while, so I'm really glad to finally have this. I helped him out with this one as well. I helped him out with the rip of the theatrical cut. So, in widescreen. So, there's those bootlegs, and he also sent me this as an early Christmas present. The Alliance Entertainment Blu-ray double feature of Rob Zombie's Halloween films. The reason why I wanted this is the only way to get the theatrical cut on Blu-ray of, I think, both films, if I remember correctly. At least the first one, anyway. Because in the box set from Scream Factory, for some reason, doesn't include the theatrical cut of Halloween. And from what I've heard, the theatrical cut is a little bit better. So I wanted to test that out for myself, because I don't like the director's cut. I think it's got some extra scenes in it that just make the film even worse. And the rest of these are ones that I got from either Amazon or Pawn Shop, actually. So these are Amazon finds. I got them when they were on sale for a little bit, like cheaper than what they were before. The Hunt. I actually saw this before I picked up this Blu-ray. I liked it. I just never got around to sitting down and do a review. So it's been so long. I want to watch it again and do a review one of these days. And another film that I did see but didn't review yet is The Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss. So I picked those 2 up, as well as Night Angel for the Kino Lorber and the horror film collection. This one I've been curious about. Looks like it has some pretty interesting makeup effects. A lot of features for a Kino Lorber release. So, speaking of Kino Lorber, I also took part in the recent Shocktober sale. I picked up Secret of My Success, Gotcha, The Hard Way, a horror film called Torment, and the action movie Death Before Dishonor. They just haven't shipped yet. And I also took part in the Arrow Video Shocktober sale, which I got a good amount of Arrow Video releases from there. They've been dispatched, but they're from the UK, so it'll probably be a bit till I get them. I also took part in Scream Factory's Shocktober sale, but that's going to be a while, because Scream Factory is notorious for taking a while for particular titles, but it was a really good deal for once. Usually, Scream Factory takes forever and a day to ship, but also usually it's not worth it because the price isn't really that much different than what's on Amazon. But that wasn't the case with this sale. I picked up the Lawnmower Man, April Fool's Day, Graveyard Shift. Trying to think of the other one. Yeah, it was Graveyard Shift, April Fool's Day, the Lawnmower Man, and there was another. Oh, Sleepwalkers, and those will be on their way. Probably in the next couple months, considering how long Scream Factory takes. This is another Amazon title, Sonic the Hedgehog. I actually haven't seen this film. Heard some good things about it. I like Jim Carrey. So, yeah. Wanted to check it out. Here we have Piranha 3D. This is a 3D disc, but it's also a single disc in terms of you can actually play it as a 2D film. So you don't have to have a 3D player to be able to play this movie. You only need to have a 3D player and a 3D TV to be able to see it in 3D. Got it for pretty cheap as well. Got a good deal for all these Blu-rays. The pawn shop owner gave me for $3 each. I actually haven't seen this remake, but I didn't have it on Blu-ray, so I was like, sure. Another remake, Assault on Precinct 13, a film that I've heard of, but I've never seen. But I do really like the original, so I don't have a whole lot of high hopes for it. But I like Ethan Hawke, and I like Lawrence Fishburne, and I like John Leguizamo. So I don't know. I thought I'd give it a shot someday. The Dark Tower, because I like Idris Elba, Matthew McConaughey. I've never read the books, so I can't be one of those people that's going to just judge it based on how good of an adaptation it is. Pacific Rim, because I want to give it another shot. I like robot fighting movies, so, and I like Del Toro. Dylan Dog, Dead of Night. It's only had the DVD. Clash of the Titans, the remake and the sequel. The Waterboy. I actually like this movie. I think that part of it's nostalgia because I grew up with this one. But also, I'm a football fan, so there's some fun football scenes in this. I can see why people have a hard time with it because of his voice, but I could deal with it. Tekken. I did not pay $9 for it. And Tekken 2, Kazuya's Revenge. This one actually features King Kasugi. Max Steel, because I'm a sucker for, like, a kid or a teenager or somebody finds an alien's a weapon suit and then, becomes a superhero. Because I'm a huge fan of the Guyver, so I'm a sucker for those kind of movies, even if they're bad. And I've heard that one's really bad. And then I got a couple more films here. We got Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 for the Denzel Washington, Travolta, and Tony Scott collection. And The Day After Tomorrow for the Dennis Quaid collection and the Disaster Movie collection. So, that's it for Blu-rays and DVDs. Now I'm going to share some quick thoughts on Monster Hunter, the trailer with Mila Jovovich, and it looks generic. It looks incredibly generic, like any other like mid-tier budget monster movie. I've never played any of the games, so I can't be one of those people that's like, it's nothing like the games at all, boo. But I'm not surprised at all that it's nothing like the games. This is Paul Wildstyle Anderson we're talking about. And this is another video game adaptation starring his wife. And it's just another excuse for him to have fan fiction. To create fan fiction based around another franchise starring his wife. This time around it's not Resident Evil. And the CGI at times looked fine, but other times it looked pretty bad. The line delivery by some of the actors was cringe. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy. It just looked like a really below average science fiction action monster movie. Like, it just didn't really have a good amount of energy to it. I didn't really care for the whole plot line, which is essentially just Stargate, but have them go through a portal and wind up in a desert with monsters instead of Egyptians. That's really it's basically fucking Stargate. Like when I saw that trailer, I'm like, what is this? A remake of Stargate? So yeah, not impressed with that trailer. And Kino Lorber, though, is coming out with an upcoming Blu-ray of Dead. No, not Dead and Buried, but that's something that Blue Underground is doing. But Buried Alive, the Frank Darabont TV movie. It's finally getting a official release in the United States on a format that isn't VHS. It's remastered in 2K. It's got an interview with William Averton and a commentary with some guy I've never heard of. But I'm looking forward to that a lot. It's coming out in January because I'm a fan of that one. I think it's an underrated gem. Even though I'm not super big on the second one, it still would have been nice to have it as a double feature. But, you know, I'm fine with just having the first film, to be honest. That's the one that I've been wanting the most. So that's another title I can cross off when it comes to movies that I wanted to see get released on Blu-ray. So I will be picking that up sometime. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say except I want to share my thoughts on a little bit of what's going on with Hollywood when it comes to the movie theaters shutting down and all of that, and what the future is going to be. It looks pretty bleak, to be perfectly honest. There were a lot of studios that were living on borrowed time because of these budgets for films that just got bigger and bigger and bigger. It got to the point where they're spending like $500-600 million on a movie, and in order to break even or even make a profit, they have to make $1 billion or more, and that's just not a sustainable business model. Then when you have a pandemic that comes into play, and people aren't going to the theater, that just makes it even worse. I think there's going to be a lot of studios that are going to be hurt seriously bad in terms of their financial status by this pandemic. And I don't think things will ever be the same when it comes to Hollywood's model for films, how much money they're going to spend, as well as what's going on with the movie theaters. I think there's going to be a lot of movie theaters that are going to shut down and close their doors. There's sadly, which means there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be out of jobs. There's going to be a shift in terms of how many films actually do get released on streaming as well as in theaters. When people are more comfortable and feeling better about going to the movie theater and seeing films, I don't think the box office receipts are going to be very good. I think they're going to be pretty middling, to be honest. And in order for these studios to really recoup even more costs, they're going to have to provide streaming options upon the release date and make them affordable. And it's just going to be a lot of adjustment and transition for Hollywood in general. And also, I feel that with the shift more to the streaming model, it's just going to make them lose even more money because, to be perfectly honest, people are going to pirate the fuck out of these movies. They already did, and they're going to do it even more once they're going to be available streaming. Someone's going to find a way to record it, stream, rip the stream. It'll be on the internet. It'll be free, and it's just going to hurt. It's going to hurt Hollywood a lot. We might be seeing the end of the big budget blockbusters, folks. This might be the end of the road. At least until we get a vaccine, at least until things kind of calm down a little bit. But I don't even know if that's even going to happen. Disney's going to actually feel a lot of heat. They're actually going to take a lot of hits right now. They already are, because they're not making as much money with their theme parks, and that's the big part of their business model. So there's a positive in a way that I think there will be a rise in independent films. There will be a rise in you know, more independent kind of films getting a little bit more recognition, or maybe being seen by a wider audience. Um, I think Hollywood's going to have to be forced to not necessarily stick to these big budget, huge tentpole franchises for a while because it costs so much to make. So I think they're probably going to have to adjust and do more smaller films. I think that'll honestly lead to them taking more chances, hopefully, when it comes to storytelling and what kind of films they're going to do. But it could also go to the opposite way, where they just don't do any more risky projects at all, and they just strictly just stick to tentpole recognizable franchises. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen in the next year or so, because there's a lot of films that were supposed to come out this year that have been pushed to next year, and even next year is really a crapshoot in terms of what kind of films, like, or what movies are even going to actually get a theatrical release. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be dumped to streaming again. I really feel that way. The theaters are just going to the theaters are either going to be closed, and there's not going to be enough to be able to enable Hollywood and these studios to make enough of a profit. So I think a lot of this stuff's just going to get dumped to streaming, and I think you're going to see some dominoes start to fall by December. You're going to see stuff like Black Widow or Wonder Woman 1984 get dumped to streaming. I really think that's going to happen. I don't think those films are actually going to see the light of day in the theater. And there's going to be a lot of movies that aren't going to, big tentpole films that were supposed to come out this year. I think you're going to start seeing them one by one when the release date is nearer, and we're still not at a point where we got a vaccine and things are figured out yet. They're not going to push it forward another year, so they're going to get dumped. And then on top of that, you're not going to see as many films getting put into production for a while. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be in development hell, a lot of stuff that's going to be canceled, a lot of films that are never even going to be made, period, because it's just too much money, or, you know, just they don't think it's going to be profitable. So it's just going to be an absolute clusterfuck and a shit show, even more than it already is. I think this pandemic alone is going to set back Hollywood at least 2-3 years in terms of production, in terms of kind of projects, in terms of the things that are trying to do, if not, you know, permanently, because it's not going to be a sustainable business model anymore. So they're going to have to try to scramble and figure something out. And the thing is, if it's a movie that I like and I want to support, you know, and if digital becomes it starts to creep up in the forefront more, I'll gladly pay an affordable price. I'm not paying $30 though to stream something like Mulan that I don't give a flying fuck about. So even if it's a film that I'm curious about, that I want to see, like John Wick 4, I'm not paying $30 to see it streaming. So there's gonna have to be an adjustment when it comes to that as well. It's just gonna be interesting. We're gonna see what happens soon enough. But I honestly feel it's just gonna be a massive reckoning. It's gonna be a really a bad time for a little bit for Hollywood and for studios, and for movie theaters in particular. I'm hoping that the smaller run indie theaters manage to find a way to stay afloat. And I'm hoping that things don't happen in a way where they end up getting shut down permanently, and we usher in a new era of studios owning movie theaters. I hope that's not the case, but I could see that happening too. It's just going to be a really different experience and a different landscape going forward. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And yeah, one more thing. What I have planned for the rest of October is a combination of some requests, as well as the Halloween franchise, and some random little films interspersed or spliced in that particular stew, so to speak. The next franchise that I am going to tackle is the Lost Boys franchise. So You will probably see a review of The Lost Boys be posted very soon after this video. And after Lost Boys, I got some more random stuff. Tales from the Crypt Season 4. Some films that I've seen that I've been curious about that I've honestly felt like doing reviews for a while, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it. And back to another franchise, some Rob Zombie horror movies, and then Halloween. Halloween might bleed into November because I might not be able to finish it all up by the end of this month. But I'm going to give it my best shot. And in November, I'm going to tackle some more 2020 films, as well as some other random stuff, and potentially another request. The interview with William Malone, I've been just kind of dealing with a lot of sort of, not entirely like really serious health issues, but just some stuff that's been kind of bugging me. So I've been kind of postponing that a little bit. I'm going to try to see if I can get it in the can next week. I also want to post a second part of an interview with Larry Block. I'm probably going to post that pretty soon. With not a whole lot of frills, maybe just a little bit of some pictures thrown in there, just so I can get something out there. And really, that's the plan. I might have another vlog or update video in the process, more than likely. But that's what I have planned going forward. I'll see you later. See ya.